Residents in Victoria's north are building walls from sandbags to protect thousands of homes as the Murray River rises. Evacuation warnings are in place for people in Echuca and other towns along the river, with the Murray expected to peak from Wednesday. Watch in the video above, more than 200 flood rescues conducted in Shepparton. Emergency services are concerned the river levels could exceed the 94.77 meters recorded in Echuca during the 1993 floods. People in the northern Vic town spent most of Monday building a makeshift sandbag levee in an effort to protect thousands of homes and businesses. More than 1,000 Echuca properties were already inundated with floodwaters on Sunday after the Campaspe River broke its banks. There are also concerns the rural town of Kerrang, about 95 kilometers northwest of Echuca, will become isolated due to floodwaters. Major flooding at Kerrang along the Loddon River is expected overnight on Tuesday and into Wednesday, with the water forecast to peak around the January 2011 peak soon after. A sandbag levee is expected to help keep the majority of the town dry, but it could be cut off for up to 7 days. If you do not wish to be isolated for at least a week within the levee area, it is recommended you relocate as soon as possible, Vic Emergency warned. A warning has also been issued for the Wimmera River, with Horsham residents told major flooding is possible on Tuesday. As of 9:40 a.m. on Tuesday, it was too late to leave for residents of Murchison. Residents in the small town of Barma, near Shepparton, are also being told to evacuate with severe flooding expected by Wednesday afternoon. The Goulburn River at Murchison peaked at 12.05 meters on Monday morning, and is currently at 11.31 meters and falling. It is likely to fall below the major flood level of 10.70 meters overnight on Tuesday and into Wednesday. Major flooding is also occurring along the Campaspe River at Rochester. According to Vic Emergency, the town's sewerage system has been impacted, and may take 6 to 8 weeks to be restored. It is also now too late to leave for residents in Orvale, Kiala West, and Moorooka. Relief to rebuild other towns are moving to the cleanup phase, with the state government on Monday announcing a $351 million flood recovery package. The disaster funding includes $165 million in emergency road fixes such as filling potholes and repairing surfaces to get people and freight moving. Close to 13,000 people have applied for state relief payments, with almost 4,000 people already receiving support, Emergency Services Minister Jacqueline Sims said. "We're working as quickly as we can to make sure that money gets out the door," Sims told ABC Radio Melbourne on Monday afternoon. Premier Daniel Andrews announced the relief measures on Tuesday, along with $5.5 million for food packages and a warning the flood crisis was not over. Significant challenges lie ahead as Victoria braces for more extreme weather in coming days, Andrews said. There is more rain on its way by the end of the week, particularly for northern Victoria, he told reporters on Tuesday. That'll see renewed water rising and flooding, potentially not exceeding the peaks we saw over the weekend, but still very significant challenges. Extra support is being offered for families with children in kinder and schools as communities begin to clean up. Those directly impacted by floods can send their 3- and 4-year-olds to kinder for free for Term 4. Additionally, a $5.5 million food relief package is being offered to ensure flood-affected families don't go hungry. The state government also confirmed fees would be waived for those trying to remove flood waste. It is projected that 300,000 tons of waste will be sent to landfill as a result of the floods. Residents in 46 local government areas across the state will have their fees covered through December 31st this year. In Maribyrnong and Melbourne's west, the council will start collecting hard rubbish strewn across nature strips. After initial reports of flood-ravaged property in the suburb had been looted on Monday, more residents have now come forward saying they have also noticed their belongings have been tampered with. "I saw bags, opened up, clothes, mess everywhere," resident Lam Luang told 7 News. "In the morning, when you're back home, you see everything is messy. Absolutely, there was someone in here last night. Even if it's not flooded, it's still not right to go into someone's property, because it's their labor, you work hard for that." In response to these reports, Maribyrnong Mayor Anthony Tran said while devastating events such as the floods can bring out the best in a community, unfortunately they can also bring out the worst. We have a community who are going through the heartache of clearing flood-contaminated materials from their properties. The last thing they need is people coming into the area trying to take what's left, he said. NSW regions wait for flooding to arrive. Rural and regional NSW residents face an anxious wait for floodwaters to arrive as rain continues to swell rivers amid ongoing inundation across southeastern Australia. A low-pressure system bringing heavy rain and thunderstorms is forecast to hit NSW from Wednesday to Friday, before weakening and being followed by more rain on the weekend. There's a danger of flash flooding from intense bursts from severe thunderstorms, as well bringing with them the potential for some destructive wind gusts, Bureau of Meteorology meteorologist Jane Golding said on Tuesday. There are currently 69 warnings in place across the state. Focus is turning to the south of the state in the Riverina region and near the Vic border, where residents are staring down the possibility of a flood higher than the 1993 event, the area's second worst on record. Mythour residents east of the Cobb Highway have been told to evacuate by 10 a.m. on Tuesday before routes out are expected to be cut off. About 300 people in Moama in the southern part of the state have already been evacuated, with thousands more currently on watch. The town has been warned to expect major flooding from Thursday, along with Echuca across the border in Vic. Heights could exceed the 1993 flood by Friday, the Bureau warns. Another evacuation was ordered northeast of Moama near the Murray Valley Regional Park, with people told to leave by Tuesday evening before evacuation routes are cut off. East Moama residents have been told to evacuate by 1 p.m. Wednesday. SES Assistant Commissioner Sean Kern says the next 48 hours are crucial, with up to 3,000 people on flood watch in communities near Moama. 6 flood rescues have taken place in the last 24 hours along with 50 requests for help, he said. The situation is not over and it's going to continue for several weeks to come, Kearns told reporters. It might be blue sky, but it doesn't mean it's not flooding and the rivers won't rise. Major flooding continues from the Macquarie River at Warren in central west NSW, with waters expected to remain high until at least midweek. The Murrumbidgee River could reach major flooding at Narrandera on Tuesday night, where residents were told to evacuate over the weekend. The water will then flow downstream to Hay, which could experience major flooding by the end of the week. However, residents in Forbes forced to evacuate after the Lachlan River burst its banks last week have been told they can return with caution. Emergency Services Minister Steph Cook said services were ready to act, with 9 aircraft pre-positioned in high-risk areas across the state. The Australian Defence Force has also been called upon, with up to 180 personnel expected to be rolled out across high-risk communities on Tuesday. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Perrottet visited the region on Monday. Albanese warned flood threats are likely to continue for some time. We are living in very dangerous times in the days and weeks ahead, he said. SA bracing for flooding. River Murray communities in South Australia are bracing for flooding with rising water levels from heavy rain in Victoria, prompting warnings for locals to be prepared. Flows down the Murray have been increasing steadily, reaching 79 gigalitres a day last week. The SES expects those levels to hold steady through October before rising further to about 90 gigalitres a day in mid-November. However, new forecasts due this week could push that figure higher after more rain upstream. SES Chief of Staff Darren Halliday said the rising river levels had already impacted some low-lying communities. Unlike the flooding we have seen in NSW and Victoria, South Australia is not experiencing severe rainfall, he said. The increased flow along the River Murray is a slow-moving and natural river event. There is significant time for people to prepare for the increased flows and potential flooding. The SES said shack owners at Morgan, Brenda Park, Scotts Creek, Walker Flat and Bowhill could expect a flood. In other areas, some business owners have already been forced to close and public infrastructure has been impacted.